All right, joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, he is Coach Mack McCarthy, as the college football season comes to an end last night. Enjoyed talking about it all year long with Mack, and looking forward to more college football talk this off season. But Coach, welcome in. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. Fun game last night, and I know you gave the points and had a big payday.
Yeah. How'd you know that? I uh,
Uh, I can tell.
I did pretty good during these playoffs, and part of that is due to you. And you helped me with Notre Dame and Georgia for sure. And I guess the first round was pretty easy if you just went with the favorites there. But I was thinking about this, Mag. What did the championship game teach us? You can lose a game, and it can be a bad game, like Northern Illinois. You can lose two games, and in the case of Ohio State, if your schedule is good enough. But I don't know any other kind of revelations coming out of this thing as we have year one of this particular playoff format.
Well, I think one big takeaway. I think what you talked about was definitely right, and maybe good. Because it kind of gives everybody hope, and you can continue on even if you have a hiccup or even two hiccups along the way. But you've heard me say this before, but spending the money does not guarantee you'll win, but not spending the money guarantees you won't win.
Yeah, and it's not like it's a professional team where we're saying, man, this owner is cheap, he doesn't spend the money. Some teams just don't have that money to spend,
Yeah,
so you're
yeah,
out from day
yeah.
one.
Yeah, and the system is not as fair as the professional system because there are schools with built-in advantages. There always have been, but that may get even more pronounced now because there's no real secret here that Texas and Ohio State make more money than anybody in America, and their teams reflect that.
Coach, when we go to the step of schools paying the student athletes, is that just that part going to be even across the board, or like are salaries higher at Alabama than they'd be here? And I know there's still NIL and all the TV money and all that stuff that goes with it, but just for the schools paying the athletes part, is that even, or is that unequal as well?
I think for the schools that can afford it, it will be equal. The part that won't be equal is the actual NIL, and there's
Right.
no way for the NCAA to control that. There's no way they'll ever win that in court. And I'm beginning to feel a lot less confident about this House settlement, about the possibility of it actually even going into effect. And the folks that are out there spending money like crazy with no guardrails and no real rules right now might be the short-term beneficiaries of this because I think there's some folks counting on this to be kicked down the road for a while, and in the meantime, they're going to do whatever they can do to try to get well.
Talking a few big picture items. Let's get to the game itself, Mac. You did say a good game last night, so I guess you were okay with how it went. A dominant, great drive by Notre Dame to start the game, and then a dominant first half by Ohio State. And credit either Notre Dame or Ohio State for kind of sleepwalking there for a while, but Notre Dame did make it a contest in the fourth quarter.
They really did, and they stayed with what got them there, and the thing that everybody worried about with them throwing the football was the thing that got them beat. They weren't capable of throwing it well enough with Leonard. I actually coached against his dad. His dad played at the Citadel. I actually coached against his dad when I was at Chattanooga, but yeah, Riley Leonard couldn't throw it well enough to help them win, and they did everything else about as well as you could do. And uh, Ohio State was just so good. I mean, it looked like they almost did score on every single possession. They had the one fumble, and I guess they had one punt maybe during the game, but it sure felt like after that first drive that they had things under control. But I bet after that first drive there were some nervous folks about the line and the under over and everything else.
No doubt. And how about Ohio State needs a play? Was it 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, whatever? Go to the young fella, Jeremiah
Jeremiah
Smith,
Mitchell, yeah,
and he'll get it done
Jeremiah
for you.
Smith. I'm sorry.
What'd you think of the Notre Dame decision to kick the field goal? It looks worse when you miss it, but
Yeah.
what'd you think of that decision there in the fourth quarter?
I thought it was wrong anyway because I didn't think they could get enough possessions to, the way Ohio State was doing running their offense. I thought they should have tried to go for it. I know it would have been a last gasp kind of thing right then. They would have had a chance or not had a chance, but I felt like they had to go for it at the time. But they had stuck with their plan all year, and you can't fault them for that. And they had an incredible season.
Maybe Coach Freeman will talk to Dan Quinn about fourth downs and when to go for it or not, because the Commanders are going for it every time. We'll get to that in a moment. I think I asked you this last week or 2 weeks ago, Coach Mack, but to, I guess, repeat the question, or maybe you've thought of a new answer, but and I'll ask the question a little bit different. What are the biggest storylines you think this offseason in college football? Here in the next few months, what are we talking about? Is it conference realignment? Do we got more of that coming up? Is it, new rules? I don't know. What's kind of next on the docket here, you think?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be conference realignment. Although that will be continued to have an undercurrent with everything. But I think it's going to be whatever happens with the House settlement or doesn't happen, which is what my opinion is. I think the thing that will happen, I think the college football playoff will, for 1 year, change the seeding process. And then we might even find out what the college football playoff is going to look like going forward, because I think the television networks are going to have enough lead time to plan for all that. So I think those are the two big things that will happen. I think they'll change the seating process, and I think we'll find out what the college football playoff will look like after next year. Again, the House settlement, I think, is going to be challenged so many different ways. Title IX has reared its ugly head, or appropriately or inappropriately. Not for me to say, but it's going to be a factor, and there are going to be a lot of challenges to every single phase of this ruling by the judge out there in on the West Coast.
Mac, are you saying that we're going to change the seating for year 2 of this 12-team playoff, or are you saying, the seating will be changed once we have a new format in 2027?
I think they're going to change it now. I think
Okay,
they'll
so
change
it's
it
still a
right away.
12-team, but
Yeah.
you can kind of tinker with that a little bit.
Right. I think they'll keep the automatic qualifiers, but I think they'll tweak the seeding process, because that that really didn't serve anybody well. It like you said, you were talking about the favorites and all that kind of thing. It wasn't a farce, but it was pretty close to it.
Mack McCarthy joining us as we wrap up the college football season. Coach Mack, how much of the Commanders' lines did you watch, or were you just looking at
Uh,
your phone?
I watched till it was over. That means halftime.
Well, we were up 10, so yeah, you can go to bed then. It's over.
31
Uh,
21. It was over.
but man, I'm elated right now. It's still hard to believe. It's been let's
Could
see,
be.
where were you, Coach Mack, in January of 1992? Where were you coaching then?
Chattanooga. Yeah.
All right. Coach Mack was in Chattanooga when Joe Gibbs was about to win Super Bowl number 3.
And that was
And
that was the year he started JGR too, I think.
oh, really?
I'm
So
pretty
that
sure.
started while he was with Washington, and he only
Yep.
coached. Was it one more year after that?
I
He
think
hung
so.
it up pretty close
Yeah.
after that
Yeah.
that
I'm
last
pretty
Super
sure
Bowl.
that's the year. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, And man, how about the Commander style of play? They this is the second straight week they went for it on the opening possession on fourth down and didn't get it. So you're kind of behind the eight ball there, but not for Dan Quinn. They're just going to go for it some more. I think they were 3 out of 4 the other night, and with that, and with Jaden Daniels, and they play some fun, entertaining football. I think for non fans out there.
Yeah, they really are fun to watch, whether you like them, hate them, whatever. They haven't been good enough to be hated very much recently, for sure. But yeah, Jaden Daniels he has to be the story of the NFL this year, right?
Well, I think so. I mean, all I hear is he's the best. It's the best rookie quarterback performance ever in the history of the NFL. So,
Yeah, I'm not enough of an NFL historian to know that, but he sure has been special.
and let's see on the NFC side, you've got Eagles and Commanders. AFC, Patrick Mahomes looking for another one, and Josh Allen standing in his way after the Bills get by the Ravens. So there's your final four, Coach Mack.
Yeah, it'd be fun. And Josh Allen, I think it would be fun for them to get over the hump and get to the championship. I don't. Mahomes is likable enough for the most part that
Yeah,
folks don't just hate on him. Although I think folks are starting to hate on the fact that he's so well protected, maybe. But yeah, and then an old NFC East showdown with the Eagles and the Commanders. I've still seen a lot of Redskins gear. This is a big Richmond is a big Washington football fan base, and of course they used to train here.
yeah,
But like I told you last time, the orthopedic folks that I went to are Commander sponsors and that kind of thing, and there's a lot of Redskin gear here in town.
yeah, and it's good to see people excited again. I was talking to Chandler yesterday. He said, "Man, wouldn't it be cool to have a home game here?" And I said, "That's the next step, having a home playoff game because." Not only did the wins return this year, the fans returned, and an actual home field advantage returned,
Yeah.
and man, it'd be cool if a few years from now it could be back at the old RFK site in a new stadium in DC rather than up there in Landover, Maryland. So I don't know, man. It feels like a lot of positivity right now going with that franchise.
Yeah, when I was at VCU, I had quite a few booster friends who were season ticket holders and club level ticket holders, and I took a bunch of them. I went with them to the game, but I we went up early for a Monday night game with San Francisco, and Terrell Owens was with the 49ers, and they all got to meet him and that kind of thing. So I've been to Landover a couple times, but
Was that when we got blown out in like 1998?
it's exactly what it was. It's exactly what it was. Yes.
I remember
Yes.
everything. Yeah, that was not a good year, but I do remember that. Mac, you said booster friends. Do booster friends remain friends when you move on? Are you do you still have booster friends from ECU and VCU and Chattanooga?
I do have some, but some are not happy when you move on, and then some are happy that you moved on. But but I will say the thing that one thing that irks me right now in college athletics is when a coach does move on to greener pastures, so to speak, he immediately becomes a persona non grata, and sometimes even if you fire him, people still hate on him and they'll
Oh, that's
talk about him
correct.
forever. The
Yeah,
guy is gone. The
yeah.
girl is gone. Quit referencing them. Focus on who is there. But yes, I have quite a few booster friends that are. Matter of fact, the guy that did a whole lot of the work on my house here owns a company and he's a big VCU guy on the VCU board, sports council, and that kind of thing. But yeah, I remain friends, and thankfully I was able to stay in Greenville,
Yeah.
and have lots of booster friends.
So this might sound hypocritical, but I agree with you on the firing thing. But is it okay if I do it out of laughs rather than hatred? Because I did post a picture of Scotty Montgomery who was on the sideline the other night and
All right, yeah.
made a tweet. But I always said, man, I don't know why you're mad at Scotty. Like he he was offered a job too early and said, "Hell yeah, I'll take it and get paid all that money." Blame the guy that hired him, not Scotty, for failing here.
I agree 100%. I mean, and you can point out that somebody failed, but it doesn't make them a bad person. And if they left for a better job, you can't be upset with that either. And I see it all the time, and it's sort of disgusting, to be honest. And especially when you fire a guy and you continue to just rip him and bring him up in conversation. Move on. Move
Wait, who are you? Are
on.
you referencing something in particular? Because you keep talking about this.
Well,
Is it me?
actually, no, 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 not at all, not at all. Actually, the Virginia Tech fans are a little bit guilty with this with Justin Fuente, and they're
Ah,
really guilty of it with Kenny Brooks, who left women's basketball to go to Kentucky, and
right.
both of those things just chap my rear end.
I hear you. I got you. Mack McCarthy joining us. All right. Is this apples to apples? So you talk about when a coach moves on to greener pastures, say, hey, congratulations, good luck, and root for the next guy. How about if a player does that, Mac? Do we feel
Same thing, same
okay?
thing,
All right, there you
same
go.
thing.
I mean,
I
I'm
mean,
with you. I can't hate on these guys. I don't know their personal
we're in a
circumstances.
different world. Yeah, we're in a
Yeah.
different world. They're just playing by the rules, and yeah, it would be nice, but you can't turn the clock back. This is where we're at.
Mack McCarthy joining us. Mac, did want to bring up a topic with you. So before I forget and before we wrap it up, I'll do that. Uh, I like this. This sounds kind of radical, but it kind of stems from some conversations we've had about what happens in your conference championship. Will a conference championship game hurt you as far as the college football playoff goes? So this is from ESPN. ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips said the league will have conversations about whether to make changes to his championship format. He said he's considering giving a regular season champion a bye and have the teams that finish second or third play in the league standings play in the ACC championship. Another possibility is even more radical, having the top four teams play on the final weekend of the regular season, first versus fourth, second versus third. The winners play in the ACC championship the following week. So, what do you think of those ideas, Coach Mack?
Well, big picture wise, let me tell you what I like about him. I like the fact that he's thinking outside the box and trying to figure something out that would help their league get more teams in the playoffs. Um, Do I think those things work? Probably not. But thinking outside the box and trying to help your league, I think those are good ideas. And again, the specific plans, I'm not sure they will pass muster. But you got to give them credit for trying to be creative in the thinking. And we've talked about this all along. I don't know what purpose the conference championship games serve, and I do know why we keep them, and the answer is money. And what's the question? Bingo.
Yeah.
We know that, but I don't know if that's good enough. And I'm not so sure they couldn't make it so that those games still produce money. And I'm a traditionalist. I like the old school way of doing things, but I think they've outlived their usefulness. So in that regard, and everybody say, well, a desperate league, and yeah, they're in a bind because the SEC and the Big Ten make more money than the ACC and the Big 12. But I will say this: the ACC got their champion in. They got the team that lost their championship game in. And if Miami doesn't lay an egg against Syracuse, they would have had three teams in the college football playoff this season, despite it not being a great league, great year in the league. So, I think some of that criticism kind of falls by the wayside and is kind of weak. But yeah, it is. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and they're trying to make up a whole lot of money, and they've got to do. They can't keep doing the same thing and expect it to change.
I wish we could have some kind of play in for that group of five spot. Do you remember? And it's not totally similar, but do you remember the Bracket Busters challenge that
Oh yeah,
they
I
used to
did
have in
bracket busters
basketball?
games. Yeah,
Yeah, and those were fun because you had some of the best teams from the non big power conferences. But maybe at the end of the year you get your best AAC team taking on the best Mountain West team or something, and you have a little play-in tournament there. But who knows? You can't say never to anything anymore with all the changes we've seen in college sports. So who knows? Maybe Jim Phillips will be on to something years from now.
Yeah, we'll see. And again, I'm not a big fan of either one of those plans, but I do think something has to change with the championship games, and certainly the ACC and the Big 12 have to be open to some creative options.
All right, Mac, we are getting somewhat close to the end of January, which gets us into February, start of college baseball season, but also we get towards the end of college basketball. So time to get serious here. East Carolina going for win number 2 in a row on the road tonight. They beat Wichita over the weekend on the R.J. Felton three-pointer. They are road favorites tonight at Tulsa, looking for 2 in a row. What games you got this week you'll be calling?
Actually, I don't have a one game this week, a women's game, Virginia Tech at NC State. I'll be back down in North Carolina and be able to get some good barbecue and that kind of thing. So, but then the following week, I have Notre Dame, who is at least arguably the best team in the country, or one of the best 2 or 3 teams in the country, and have 2 of the best players in the country, and SMU, the new kid on the block in the ACC. And both those games are in Blacksburg. Then I go back to Charlottesville a couple times before I go to the CAA tournament in Washington, D.C.
I had some good barbecue Saturday in between games. I called some games in the Brandon Ingram MLK Showcase at Kinston High School, and I forgot I hadn't talked about it much on the air. I want to talk about it though because I really enjoyed it, and I don't. It probably got old to you, Matt, because maybe you did it so much in your career, but something about being in a gym and seeing 10 different teams play and their fans, and you get for an hour and a half to see this kid that might not go to college, but man, he's the best guy on the court that day, and there was something really fun about it to see it and witness it in person. So I really enjoyed that on Saturday.
No, I still like it, and even though I'm doing a lot of games, I still like to try to get out and go to some games. I haven't gone to as many here. I need to see VCU play, Richmond. I have seen Virginia Union play, and then I'm going to go this week to see William and Mary because I'm going to see them in the CAA tournament. So yeah, I like being in any gym, to be honest. As much as I love college football games and going to them in person, I still love to see good basketball, whether it's high school or college.
Mac, enjoyed it, man. We will catch up with you next week. And J Bone, Mac, when do we need to do our NASCAR draft? We need to do some kind of NASCAR pool. So
I'm tied up till this afternoon.
Well, we can do it next week or a couple weeks. Is what I mean.
I'm in. Are we gonna do it live on the air?
Yeah. When's the
Okay.
500? What's that date? 16th.
I don't know.
Okay.
Third. Yeah,
We got a
there you
couple
go.
weeks in. There we go.
There you go.
All right, Mac. Thank you, man.
Thank you all. Go Pirates.
Go Commanders.